Hello class, this is the second part of the cell series. If you want the link to the first part, it is available in the description down below. Let's move on. So what is a cell wall? Well, cell wall is an organelle present only in plant cells. Sorry, it's not an organelle, but it is only present in plant cells. It's not present in animal cells. It is a rigid covering that is mainly made up of cellulose, and cellulose provides strength and rigidity to the plant. So the first function of the cell wall is to provide strength and rigidity to the plant. These walls also enable the plant cells to gain water through osmosis without bursting. So plant cells basically gain a lot of water. So as they gain water, they get thicker. So these walls allow the plant to gain a lot of water without bursting. Otherwise, it would burst easily. The cell walls also enable the plant to withstand environmental changes better than better than animals can. Okay, so when there's a change in the environment, such as a change in the temperature or a change in the climatic conditions, plants can survive it better than animals can because of this cell wall. Let's move on to the cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm is basically the part of the plant cell that supports the cell organelles. That the cell organelles are suspended into. The cytoplasm is a fluid content inside the cell. It's the fluid content inside the cell, and it is basically the support system for all the organelles. It basically links all the organelles together, and all the organelles are all the organelles are suspended in it. Okay, it contains specialized cell organelles, as this point tells you. The cell organelles such as the nucleus, the mitochondria, the Golgi body, the rough ER, the smooth ER, and many other cell organelles are basically contained in the cytoplasm. They communicate through the cytoplasm and they are suspended in the cytoplasm. It's basically a fluid. It's not just water, okay? It contains a lot of other stuff, and it's basically the main part of the cell. It consists of the most volume of an average cell. So now let's move on to the next point, which is that the anaerobic respiration happens here. You don't need to worry about what anaerobic respiration is. Just know that it is the respiration that happens without the use of oxygen. It is basically the breakdown of glucose that happens without the presence of oxygen. It can happen in the cytoplasm due to the enzymes that are present in the cytoplasm or the other cell organelles. It does not need oxygen. It breaks down glucose into a few products that we are going to study about in another video. It also acts as a transport system, obviously, because it consists of a lot of volume, and all the cell organelles are suspended inside the cytoplasm. Now let's move on to lysosomes. Lysosomes are basically the dustbins of the cell. Okay, all the waste material, most of the waste material in the cell is deposited into the lysosomes. They keep the cell clean by digesting foreign material or worn out cell organelles. They're basically cleaning systems of the cell, basically like the dustbins of the cell, as I told you, and they take in all the waste foreign material or broken down cell organelles. They also contain very powerful enzymes, which can break down all organic material. This is a very useful point. All the organic material can be broken down by the lysosomes, and when the cell gets damaged, the lysosomes may burst and the enzymes digest their own cell. It's not supposed to be mag, it's supposed to be may. So when the cell gets damaged, the lysosomes basically eat up their own cell, eat up their own home. So let's move on to the chloroplast. You've probably heard of chloroplast. It is the organelle that produces chlorophyll. It is only present in plants because plants are the only ones that need chlorophyll. Okay, it helps the plants conduct photosynthesis. This organelle is responsible for producing chlorophyll in plants, and chlorophyll is a green pigment that helps in the process of photosynthesis. You should have known about photosynthesis by now, and if you don't, we are going to discuss that in another video. It is basically how a plant makes its own food. You know, plants don't eat foreign food, they make their own food. Okay, chlorophyll is a pigment that helps the plant conduct photosynthesis. Let's move on to the mitochondrion. The mitochondrion is basically the powerhouse of the cell. It is basically where all the energy of the cell is generated. Energy is provided to the cell but in the form of ATP by the mitochondrion. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Triphosphate, for those of you who are wondering what ATP stands for, it is basically the energy currency of the cell. It is basically how it is basically the form in which energy is transported in the cell. Fun fact, they have two membrane coverings rather than just one. Okay, and another difference is that they have their own DNA. Okay, unlike other cell organelles, excluding the nucleus. The nucleus has its own DNA, and a mitochondrion also has its own DNA, and it also has its own ribosomes. Let's move on to the vacuole. So the vacuole is basically a large storage sac. It is basically the storeroom of the cell, if you take it in a simple way. The vacuole of animal cells is very small, but in plant cells they occupy 50 to 90% of the cell's volume. Sorry, there's a mistake in the statement there. I'll fix it just now. So the vacuoles are basically the storerooms of the cell, and many important substances like amino acids, sugars, various organic acids, and some food items are stored in the vacuole. Okay, let's move on to the difference between prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. There are two different types of cells, namely the prokaryotic cells and the eukaryotic cells. In the prokaryotic cells, there's no nucleus. It's weird, but it's true. In the eukaryotic cells, the nucleus is present. The prokaryotic cells don't have any chromosomes. They have one chromosome, but it's not a true chromosome. They have no true chromosomes. The chromosome present in them is a plastid. Okay, eukaryotic cells have more than one chromosome. The prokaryotic cells don't have a nuclear membrane. The eukaryotic cells have a nuclear membrane. Prokaryotic cells are basically incomplete eukaryotic cells. Okay, they don't have a proper structure. The examples of prokaryotic cells are bacteria and archaea, and the examples of eukaryotic cells are the cells of plants and animals. Let's move on to the structures of prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. So as you can see in the diagram, prokaryotic cells have a DNA and an RNA, and many of them don't even have a DNA. Most of them only have an RNA. Okay, in the eukaryotic cells, you can see there's a defined nucleus. It is not present in the the prokaryotic cell. And then eukaryotic cell, there's also many processes taking place, such as transport of genetic material. There's a proper structure. There's a proper management taking place in the cell, and the DNA, the genetic material, is getting transported from one place to another. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new from it. I'm really sorry I was nervous in this video. I'll try to recreate the video when possible. I made this video as soon as possible because I don't really have time currently, so I rushed it, so I was nervous. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, leave any suggestions in the comment section down below, and share this video with your friends and family.